No matter our race, our nation, or our creed, we are all skeletons inside.
Welcome to Ruby Reviews Books. Reviews from a cat who cannot read. From a cat who cannot read. Ruby Reviews Books, where Ruby, a cat who cannot read,
Welcome to Ruby Reviews Books, reviews from a cat who cannot read. She may not understand the words, but she sure likes books. Today's book is Steve Lichman, Volume 1 by David Raposa and Daniel Warren. This graphic novel is for those who have rolled one too many 20-sided dice in their time. The episodes are focused on an undead lich named Steve, whose cave is frequently raided by rapacious and homicidal adventurers, as well as his relationships with his weird fiend friends. Among them are Dracula, a self-involved creep who thinks he's the coolest, Flay, an acerbic mind flayer who's a little too into anime, Brendan, a 9/11 truther who happens to be a mummy, and Sergeant O'Malley, a former NYPD officer turned ghost who's trying to break up the illegal drug ring of mimics and rednecks. There are others, but this is a review, not a list. The premise of monsters and the comedy of their relationships as they survive the onslaught of heroic adventurers is reminiscent of Dungeon Keeper, and roughly has the vibe of the kids from Stranger Things if a Cold War experiment with parallel dimensions did not disrupt their D&D group, and they grew up into virginal men-children who struggled with their sense of place in the world. And if that's not a turnoff, there's a lot of laughs to be had in that premise before it's thrown completely sideways by a heavy dose of the Lost Boys, which actually serves to elevate the comedy as Dracula and Kiefer develop a one-sided rivalry for the affections of Steve's rogues gallery of friends. For the most part, the humor lands, especially if you're steeped in some of the tabletop RPG context from which these characters are drawn. That said, there are times when the jokes can be problematic, and trigger warning here, Dracula is a rapist. While I read the jokes surrounding that as lampshading the fact that Stoker's very evil and sinister Dracula has evolved into a seductive, glittery bad boy type who just begs to be fixed by the right woman, I also get the feeling that Raposa and Warren are trying to have their cake and eat it too. To be fair, I think they face the controversy more openly than, say, Dark Shadows or True Blood, but it still feels a bit glib to me. Comedically, it's a tough premise to swallow, and you wouldn't be wrong to skip the book entirely if that's not something you want to see played for laughs. But if you're still willing to give Steve Lichman a chance, it will take you places you don't expect from a monster fantasy strip, with meditations on mortality, depression, loneliness, bullying, and friendship. In fact, on the whole, I think this strip does a good job balancing its jokes with meaningful relationships between its protagonists. You can tell where Raposa and Warren hit their stride with multi-page arcs about one-upsmanship or standing up for oneself. The art of the novel is pretty good. It feels as if it's been influenced by the original Thundercats, with Steve as a genre-aware Mumra who's uninterested in old gods and world domination. The book itself is a step up from the original web comic. You can tell where they replaced the lettering and repositioned frames for a cleaner look. And as the strip goes on, the quality of the line work, coloring, and character design greatly improves. Still, some of the old pieces are there and they're a bit rough, and it might have been worth revisiting. All in all, I think Raposa and Warren are at their best when they swerve into absurdity, be it Ben the Beholder's tripping out about joining the Order of the Cats, or when they go deep on the Lost Boys vibe with a beachfire motorcycle race. I think Steve Lichman really pays off when they let their imagination go wild, especially when it takes them to an overweight owlbear with a puka shell necklace. I give it 3 stars out of 5. Let's see what Ruby thinks. Take a sniff. 1, 2, 3. Anything else, Ruby? Oh, 4, 5. Okay, well, there you have it. Steve Lichman, Volume 1, rated 3 stars, 5 rubs, and a yawn. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you have any suggestions on what we should read next, please leave a comment.